Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There's too many people moving and shaking around here, and you can't really keep track of who's doing what. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to go through for everything in this room is audio and video recorded first off. You okay with that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I just want to go through, like I said, a couple formalities, cover a few little things off, things that I have to do on my end that I need to do, and things that I just want to tell you and make sure that we're all on the same page before we get going.
Okay.
Okay? So, first off, today is Wednesday, October the 5th, 2016, and on my phone right now, I'll just use that as a time reference. It's 5:14.
Okay.
So 17:14. We'll just use that as a start time of our conversation here today. Again, my name is Nathan Hergott with the Woodstock Police Service. I currently work in our crime unit.
Okay.
And we met a short time ago in downtown Toronto, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we came to a facility where you've spent the last few weeks, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And we met with Dr. Khan and his team of associates, and I believe you were under his care for the last little while, correct?
Yeah, the last 3 weeks.
Okay. And the process, how we got here basically is kind of offered you a ride back, and so we could have this conversation, and you gracefully accepted, and off we went down the 401, or the Gardner, the QEW, and the 403, and here we are, right? So just to make it clear for whoever might watch this in the future, we didn't force you to come with us. We didn't, shove you in the car and off we went kind of thing. You did it on your own free will, and you accepted it on your own decision making. Is that correct?
Yep. I had a nap, and you even let me try to give money to the homeless people. So.
There you go. I remember all of that. So I know I read you a few things before, as we were kind of just cruising down Spadina there. And I know you've been read this many times, but it's just things that we need to just reiterate and make sure that you're clear and comfortable with having this conversation today.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, based on our investigation, there could be some pretty serious criminal charges that result of our investigation. Okay. Yeah. So having said that, if you wish to speak to a lawyer at any time, I don't want you to hesitate. We can make it happen whenever you like. So whether it's now, 5 minutes from now, an hour from now, or 3 days from now, whatever the case may be.
We're not going to be asking questions for 3 days, are we?
I hope not. No, I hope not. Okay. I'm just saying that any time that you want to speak to a lawyer, that you're kind of in our company, or whatever the case may be, you let us know, and we can make that accommodation for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, because in your position as a Canadian citizen, you're entitled to have free legal advice from a legal aid, duty counsel lawyer, a lawyer of your choice, whoever you like.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And like I said, because there could be some criminal charges that the result of our investigation.
Right.
Okay. Also, and I know you've been read this many times before, that you may be charged with many criminal offenses, and you don't have to say anything in answer to the charges that you face. But if you wish to do so, we're going to do that today. But whatever you do say could be used in courts. And I know we had that conversation in the car on the way back to Woodstock. Yeah. And I asked you to repeat it in your own words, and you kind of gave us a few of describing it in your own vocabulary. As you said something like, it's not Vegas. What happens in the car on the way back doesn't necessarily stay in the car, right?
Yeah.
So same thing in this room. Anything that you say and everything that we talked about could be used as evidence at court.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So kind of, to put it easily, the same rules apply. Okay? And if you've spoken to any other police officers, I know that you've dealt with the Toronto police officers. Yeah. There was a couple officers in the car on our trip back here. If anyone's persuaded you or tried to push you into making a statement, whatever they said, I don't want that to influence you in any way. Okay?
No, what I'm about to say, I'm giving up my own free will.
Okay. All right. And I appreciate that. And we'll get moving forward. For another few things, and I know that we said this in the car, you are not under arrest right now.
Okay.
Okay, I want to make that very clear to you.
Okay.
Okay, you're not under arrest. The door is unlocked. Okay, I'm not impeding your way to the door. If you want to leave at any time, if you want to stop talking to me at any time, you just let me know, and we'll just carry on from there.
Okay.
Okay, but you're not being held here against your will. We're not forcing you to speak to us. We just have some follow-up, some some follow-up questions from the investigation that kind of got going while you were in Toronto.
Yeah, being interviewed is hard because it takes so long.
It does.
So I'll do my best, like I said, if I have to get up and pace around a bit or whatever.
If you want to take a break at any time, you let us know. If you want to get up and pace around, I'll just kind of hang tight here and we'll just keep conversing as long as you're comfortable.
I'll go as long as I can.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. That's kind of all the formalities, but like I said, those are the things that I just wanted to make sure that we're clear to you. And if you have any questions for me before we get started, the floor is yours. If there's anything or any concerns that you have.
No, I want to get through this and find out what happened to my mom and dad, because I know they're upset because someone went to visit them today.
Okay.
And visited them today, and they said, you know, they're here, we're concerned, what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I honestly don't have those answers for you, but I can get them for you. My role in this investigation so far has been not as in-depth as some of the other officers, but my task today obviously was to travel to Toronto and meet with you, with my fellow co-workers, and come back here and have a conversation. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I can definitely get those answers for you, and I don't want to upset any more people that need to be, especially your mom and dad.
Yeah. Okay. You should have bought blue chip tickets while you were there.
You know what? If I could afford them for the playoffs, I probably would have. Yeah, that was exciting last night. So just for the record, and I know you prefer to go by Bethe is what you told us, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you just state your full name for me?
Elizabeth Tracy Mae Wettlaufer.
Tracy Mae?
Yep.
Okay, and just spell your last name for the record.
Wetttlaufer.
Perfect. And Beth, the reason why we're here today is because we've received some information back at the end of last week with regards to some information that was provided to the Toronto Police Service, which has led us into quite a bit of work, and leads us here today to speak to you with regards to kind of how this all started and follow up. But basically, I've watched your statement that you provided to Toronto. Okay. And we've been provided this document here. Does that look familiar to you?
Yes, that's right.
All right. And from what I can see here, there's 4 pages of a handwritten document. Is that your handwriting?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And it just kind of goes through some people that you've encountered in your career from 2007 through to 2016 of August. August of 2016. Okay. So that's kind of the focus of our investigation right now is the information that you've put on these 4 pieces of paper.
Yes. Okay.
But before we get into that, I just want to kind of get an idea of your career and where you've been in your career and kind of how you got into things. And
registered nurse. I started from here in Park Secondary School. I graduated grade 13, went for a year of journalism school.
Okay.
And then went to Bible College, London Baptist Bible College in London. Graduated with a degree in counseling. It's a bachelor's degree in counseling. And then discovered that that's wasn't really gonna get me a lot as far as work-wise and career-wise, and so I went back to here in Park High School for a year, and I took a year of Maths and Sciences, and went on to Conestoga College, and it's in Kitchener, but they have a Stratford campus, so I went there for the 3 years.
Okay.
And then when I graduated there, I worked in a place called Geraldton.
Okay.
Which is 16 hours north of Toronto.
I was going to say, that's quite a bit north, isn't it?
3 hours north of Thunder Bay.
Yeah, that's ways up there.
Yeah. Worked there, couldn't stand the isolation, moved back. Worked for an organization called Christian Horizons here in town in one of their group homes till 2007. At which time my marriage fell apart in February 2007, and I met a woman online
Okay.
and she decided to move to be with me.
Okay.
So, I ended up quitting the job I was at and going to Caress and Care to make a little bit more money, because I was the only bread earner.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working at Caress and Care, I believe it was June 2007.
Okay. And how long did you work there for?
Until, 2014. Yeah, till, I think it was March 2014.
And were you always in the same role, or
As
did you do
a
different roles at Caress and Care? Or?
I was a registered nurse.
Yeah.
And registered nurse's role is always the same.
Yeah.
But, I worked in different areas of the home.
Okay.
There's 5 wings to Caress and Care, so I worked in different areas.
Right. Okay. All throughout the 7 or so years that you were there?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, did you have different supervisors from unit to unit, or
No,
did you always
there
report
was,
to the same person, or?
there was one supervisor, Helen Crombie, she was the head nurse.
Okay.
And then there was, people under her, Shelley, Jeanette, I don't remember the rest of them. Then there was an administrative head, and I think for most of that time it was Brenda.
Right. Okay. And then from Caress and Care, I know you've had a few other.
Yeah, I went from Caress and Care, fired from Caress and Care.
Okay.
For a medication error.
Yeah.
Then from there I went to Meadow Park Nursing Home.
Okay.
And left there to get help with an addiction issue.
Okay.
Hoping that it would get help with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came back, I started working again in January. I left Meadow Park in September of 2014, and I started working for a nursing agency called Lifeguard in 2015, and I worked with them for over a year, and then in July 2016, I started working for St. Elizabeth's Healthcare.
Okay.
As well, I was still working for Lifeguard.
Oh, okay. And how did that work? Did you just split your time between the two, or was it just kind of a part-time position at both organizations?
St. Elizabeth was my priority.
Okay.
So, and Lifeguard is very much, you pick up the shifts as they come. There's very few scheduled shifts, so
Gotcha.
I could say yes and no to them and focus on St. Elizabeth.
And were those roles where you would do in-home care with different clients?
With Lifeguard, it's an agency, so you go into nursing homes, you go into people's homes, you go into retirement homes. We did a lot of different things, a lot of one-on-ones with people,
Mm-hmm.
in their own homes,
Mm-hmm.
12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts,
Okay.
sitting with them.
Okay.
A lot of stuff I did was sitting with palliative patients.
Right. Okay. That would be tough.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew they were going to die,
Yeah.
and it was just an opportunity to give the family a rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, it's an important role. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't see it that way, and wouldn't even notice the care that these people are giving from people like yourself, right? So
Yeah.
to give the families a bit of a break and take that role is important, which a lot of people don't see, right? So.
because when someone's dying in the house,
Mm-hmm.
families don't want everyone to be asleep at once, right? And that can be
That's right.
very hard if you're not able to do that.
That's right.
But if you have a nurse there that says, no, it's okay, I've got this, I know the medications they get, it's going to be all right, then...
Everyone kind of rest easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Back at Meadow Park, what was your addiction?
Hydromark.
Okay. All right.
Hydromark.
Okay. And how much were you using? And...
I was a binge user, so I would use what I could get a hold of.
Okay.
By stealing it from the patient.
Okay. All right. And how would that work? Would it just be in their allotted medications, or would you have access to a card to feed your addiction?
There's some in their allotted medications. Some of them had confusion, so they couldn't tell the difference between what pills you were giving them, so I had to give them a laxative instead of their hydromorph.
Okay.
There was, a lot of them had as needed, so it would be in a big card, and then they'd say, I would just punch out that, oh, Barney needed 2 of those today, and oh, Billy needed 3 of those today, when they really didn't.
Okay.
And that's how I would get a hold of it.
Okay.
Every once in a while, there was also a, big drug, holder, like a safe almost, that we would put the drugs in.
Okay.
Once, like if somebody died,
Yeah.
and there were like 23 hydromorphs left, we'd slide the whole card into the drug holder. Well, if you picked it up and turned it upside down and shook it, you'd get drugs back out of it.
Okay.
So,
So you had your ways.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. And was that ever an issue with Stadler? Were you ever confronted, or did that go totally undetected for the time you were there?
There was a time when hydromorph was delivered to the home, and it didn't get put away right away by the person who should have. And so I took the hydromorph and put it in my bag and took it home, and it wasn't discovered for months.
Okay.
And so I just played dumb. When the police phoned about it, I played dumb.
Yeah. And that was that?
Yeah.
Okay. So as a binge user then, like how much would you be using on a, I mean, obviously you wouldn't use it on a daily basis if you were binge using, but like how long did the addiction last for?
Oh, the addiction lasted from, I think it started in 2008.
Okay.
So to 2014, at which time I went away and got treatment at a treatment center.
Okay.
But then I started using again, probably January 2016, I started using again.
Okay. And are you still using when you get your hands on them, or?
No. I'm going to stop using alcohol as well. I have friends in AA, and I've got a very clear plan. If I'm able to be out and about,
right.
I have a very clear plan. And I also know if I'm not able to be out and about, that AA and Narcotics Anonymous do have some programs where they come into prison.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
That's my plan.
Well, that's good that you have a plan. What do you think the reason is that you slipped into the addiction back in 08? Like, what do you think? Is it just the stresses of the job that you were facing, or dealing with your personal life as well? And
just always feeling like I had to be the best possible person, and very, very stressful job, giving medications to 32 people, making sure treatments were done on 32 people,
right.
charting for 32 people, supervising 4 PSWs who sometimes didn't always get along. And sometimes didn't always get along with me.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. Any nurse will tell you it's a hard job.
I believe it 100%.
And then they would add different things like, oh, you have to do this and that to say who's here, and counting the medications at the end of the shift, and it was a hard job. And I always was putting this pressure on myself to be a really good nurse and to do everything perfectly. And every once in a while, when I could get a hold of a hydromorph or two and take it, then that pressure was gone.
Right. And the treatment center that you went away to, where was that?
I cannot remember. I've tried to remember.
Yeah. Was it local or out of town?
No, it was out of town. It was like a good 2-hour drive.
Okay.
You know where the locks are?
Yeah.
Near Niagara
Welland.
Welland?
Yeah.
It's a little town outside of Welland.
Okay.
And they have it's an 18-day treatment that they have, and I was successful. I went through the whole thing.
Nice. So all 18 days?
Yes.
Okay. And it helped?
Yes. Yep.
Good. What about family? You're born and raised Woodstock?
Yeah, born and raised in Woodstock, married from 97 to 2007.
Okay.
We broke up February 2007. No children. I wanted them, he never did.
Okay.
My mom and dad are in their 70s, 75 and 76. I have cousins all over the area.
Do you?
and my brother and his wife and 4 kids, they live in,
Okay.
and they're quite active. The oldest one is 26, and he's got a wife and 2 kids.
Nice.
He lives with his parents. They all live with the parents, except for my...
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, just one big
Yeah.
house of
I was gonna say,
crazy.
happy family, huh? Have you been out to visit at all, been out east, or?
I've been to see their house once.
Yeah.
They've been here a few times.
Nice.
They came in 2013 for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
And my nephew and his wife stayed behind and lived with my parents for a few months while my nephew tried to go to Bible college.
Okay.
But he wasn't successful, so they went back.
Yeah. So your brother older or younger than you?
Older.
Older.
He's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
He's 52.
Right on. Good, good. So as far as your latest position at St. Elizabeth,
Yeah.
that was your last position as a RN, is that
Yes,
correct?
it was.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said you resigned from there?
Yeah.
Okay. What brought you to that?
That's where things get a little crazy.
Okay.
This is part that I haven't told the doctors.
Okay.
Because it seems so stupid now. When my ex and I broke up in 2007, I was already taking the medication for my borderline personality disorder. And I was so angry. And it was like a voice said inside me, I'll use you, don't worry about it. And the different times that I have caused people's deaths or caused them discomfort through the insulin, I believe it was the influence of that voice or whatever it was. It wasn't a voice in my head, it was a voice in here. And when I would do it, afterwards I would hear like a laughter in my chest. So, started working for St. Elizabeth, and I was doing well, but it was a lot of pressure. And the way that, that I've helped people to die has been through insulin. And after my 30-day evaluation, my supervisor came to me and said, I'm really sorry. We wanted you for Woodstock, but we have so many kids in schools in Ingersoll that need help with their insulin pumps that you're going to start working in Ingersoll.
Okay.
And I panicked. I didn't want to do that. Because I felt, what if? Those are kids. So I think it was about a week after that I quit. Yeah. And then I packed my stuff in the car, and I drove 2 days into Quebec, thinking like I would just sort of run away sort of thing. And then I thought, no, that's just stupid. So I came back, and I was going to tell my parents what was going on, but they had visitors from Scotland, so I didn't tell them. I just, spent 2 weeks pretending to go to work.
Okay.
While the visitors from Scotland were here.
Right.
It's funny, but it's not funny. And then, once they left, I decided I didn't want to nurse anymore. I didn't want to hurt anybody anymore. So I also quit my other job. And then I decided, whatever Friday that was, that, I did a lot of looking into how I could get help. Because I realized I needed help with whatever this was.
Right.
Because part of me had started to believe that it was the devil, and part of me thought it might be God with a purpose through my life. And I know the doctor asked me those questions, but I didn't answer them because I was so ashamed. But I just, I didn't want this to keep going on, so I quit both jobs. Looked into where I could get help. Dr. Fernando is my psychiatrist, and he's not a very nice man. So I went on an online, support group and was talking to people on there, and they were saying, you know, get some help. So then I started researching some, psych boards and stuff, and I saw CAMH, and they are the only, mental health facility in Ontario that has an emergency department.
Okay.
So I made a decision, and I went there one Friday morning. I took the train, and off I went. And before I went, I told three people what was going on. My friend from AA, and my friend. I told them what was going on. They said yes, go and get help. And my friend drove me to the train station.
And when you say you told them what was going on, did you get into details of why you were going to seek help, or?
I told them that I had been killing people using an insulin overdose. And they all said, yes, you better go get help. So off I went.
Okay. And?
She's a friend from when I used to work at.
Okay. All right. Your last name? Okay. And she drove you to the train station on the Friday morning?
Yeah.
To the Woodstock train station?
Yep.
Okay. And then your other friend?
Is my cousin.
Okay. And she's a cousin of yours?
Yeah, she lives in BC.
Okay. And if you don't want to tell me, that's fine, based on the reason why this person may or may not be a friend, but your AA friend.
My AA friend, yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you her first name, but
okay.
Otherwise it's confidentiality.
And I don't want to dig into that at this point. That's not a problem at all. So did you disclose the same thing to all those three people?
That I had been giving insulin overdoses. I didn't say why, because at that point I felt so stupid. Yeah. It just felt so stupid.
And Beth, to be honest with you, I admire the way that you're conducting yourself and telling us and having this conversation with me. I thank you for that. And I'm not here to judge in any way.
I know.
So I want you to know that. And I'm not a doctor. I know you spent a lot of time at CAMH the last 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I'm far from a doctor, but I do appreciate you telling me the truth and telling me the way that these things happened and played out.
Yeah.
And I admire you for that.
And it's, it's been a while because I've been stewing about, do I give the names of the people that I killed?
Right.
Because then here's 8 families that thought that their family member died peacefully and normally, and they didn't. And what's that going to do to those families?
Right. And
even up to going to the hospital, I decided I was just going to give the first names. And my cousin said, listen, they know what years you worked there. If you don't tell them the exact names, they're going to go in there and go over every single file. And that's going to be even worse for the families there.
Right.
So that she was the one to give me that advice, to give the names.
Okay. And as far as you know, have these people reached out to any of the police agencies where they may reside to notify that you told them this? Or
no.
Did you tell them in kind of confidence?
I told them in confidence, and they said they promised me they wouldn't tell anyone.
Okay.
But basically the impliance was if I didn't get help, then they'd be on the phone the next day.
Okay, I got you. So did you tell them basically then on
Thursday? I told them the night before I went.
Okay, so Thursday night?
Yeah.
And then you took off Friday morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's basically what they said was, if you haven't gotten help Friday, then we're calling the police. We love you, but we're calling the police.
Well, they just probably felt that they had an obligation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it be a moral obligation or however they saw it, right?
Yeah.
What medications are you on right now?
I'm taking fluvoxamine. It's called Luvox, 200 milligrams. It's anti-obsessional and an antidepressant.
Okay.
I'm taking 300 milligrams of Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic, and they upped that when I was at CAMH.
Okay.
Which has really helped clear my thinking.
Has it? Good.
And then I'm taking a couple of blood pressure medications, and then I've got some loxapine for when I get really agitated.
Okay. And when we left the hospital, you had taken, I believe, some Ativan, is that right?
I took 2 milligrams of Ativan when we left the hospital.
Right.
Which
Okay.
was, you guys noted the time, 1:30 or something
That's
like
about
that.
right. Yeah, exactly.
And I've had nothing since.
Okay. And I know that the doctor, Dr. Khan provided with a prescription that...
Yeah, and he also gave me 2 loxapines.
Yep.
And was very strict. I am not to take them till all the interviews are over, because they will start to interfere with my thinking.
Okay.
And then let me see the interview.
Exactly. And you feel that you have a clear, sound mind right now?
Yes, I do.
Conversing with me in this room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And everything that you're telling me is the truth and the best that you can remember?
Yes. Yeah.
I could appreciate where you're coming from as far as the work that you went through. Obviously, I've never been a nurse, and I've never worked in the profession that you did, but I could imagine how overwhelming it is.
Yeah.
Having a lot of responsibility, maybe not having the support of the administration or your supervisors, just kind of go out and get it done, right?
Yeah.
And that could be, I could see how that would be stressful, and I could see how that would drive you maybe into your addiction and into other things. But I want to just go over this document, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, would you be willing to do that with me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and you do your thing.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Absolutely not.
This is pretty, excuse me, major. I've only ever had parking tickets. I've never been arrested for anything.
Well, like I said, you're not under arrest right
I
now,
know.
but it is a very significant investigation, you're right.
I understand.
Okay. And like I said before, Beth, I do appreciate you speaking with us, and I can imagine that, does it feel like a weight off your shoulders?
Yes. Yes,
You've been carrying a burden for quite some time.
And I've tried to get help a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes a few attempts to finally commit to it, right?
Yeah, I had a pastor that I told me, he prayed over me and told me I'd be fine. And that was God's grace, and then...
When was that?
That was, Halloween 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you kind of divulged to what had happened to you to that point in your life with
Yeah.
involving these people?
Yeah.
Okay. And where was that?
That was here in town.
Was it?
Do you want his name?
If you want to tell me, it's up to you.
Oh no, sorry, it wasn't, did I just say 2014?
Mm-hmm.
It was 2013.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
So before we get into this, I know that there's a statement which we have and that I've watched where you attended the police station in Toronto, at 52 Division, is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
And I think it was Detective Hamilton, and I honestly can't remember the other detective's name now. I know it started with an A. And you met with them for,
An hour and a half.
I was going to say about an hour and a half.
That was nuts.
Yeah. And at that point, you had in your possession a photocopy of this document,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And you went through and you read it out.
Yes.
Okay. And then following that, they started with the first name on the list, and they wanted to just try and get a little bit more detail of
Yes.
of the involvement in each circumstance, in
Okay.
each death, right?
Okay.
That's what I'd like to do today, and just get some more detail.
Okay.
Okay? So...
It's a long list.
It is, but I think that you and I think we can get through it together.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. As long as you're patient with me.
I've got all the time in the world. I'm not going anywhere.
Because I'm physically comfortable. It's a nice chair, but...
Yeah. Anytime you need to get up and wander around, like I said, if you want to take a break and have me leave and just kind of stretch your legs and whatever the case may be, you go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, if you have to use the washroom at any time, just let me know.
All right.
Okay? Because like I said, I'm here as long as we need to be.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm not pressuring you to stay any longer than you want to, but I think if we just kind of sit down and go through this, like I said, we'll get through it together.
Yes.
I'm a pretty patient person, and I'm here to just listen to what you have to tell me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and like I said, I appreciate it. Okay? So, how about we just do this together? I'll just bring this over here, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So, I'm not gonna have you read through this entire document, because you already did that, right?
I have written it, I have read it, I have, lived it, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mr. Silcox,
Yes,
okay, September of 2007.
yeah. He's
Okay.
the first one that died as a result of what I did.
Okay. And before you get into that, you have signed kind of page numbers, all that kind of stuff on each of these documents, so we'll just go in order of how you've written it, okay? And I know that the detectives in Toronto kind of had this in their possession and just kind of got you to recall some things.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep it here because, I mean, you've already written this out, so what's on here is, we already know that. I just have some follow-up questions just with regards to each circumstance. So, Mr. Silcox, it says here you were working a double shift from 3 till 7, right?
3 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Right, okay, and this was at Crescent Care,
Yes,
okay, in Woodstock,
yes.
okay. And tell me about your knowledge of James and your daily interactions during a shift with him.
I didn't see him every time. He wasn't always my patient. I just knew from what people had said that he would grab the nurse's breasts and buttocks, and he would say horribly inappropriate things about his wife, that now he was there, he was going to fuck all of she was going to fuck all of Woodstock, and just would say inappropriate things. And he did touch me inappropriately once.
And where was that?
On my
body?
breast.
On your breast, okay. And were you alone in the room at that point?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have a roommate at all? Did James have a roommate?
He must have. He wasn't in a single room. So he was either in a double room or a quadruple room.
Okay. Would you remember any other residents that would be roomed with him at that time? Or?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
That's okay. What portion of the home was James in at this point?
He was in there's an east wing, south wing, north wing. He was in the north wing, about halfway down, and he was either in a double bed or a quadruple bed.
Okay. All right. And the diagnosis of his health at the time you were caring for him, you remember?
He was post-hip surgery and he had dementia.
Do you remember how old he was approximately?
No, I don't. I'm going to say 80s.
In his 80s?
Yeah.
Okay. And, sorry, he was not a diabetic?
Not a diabetic.
And, sorry, you said he had dementia?
Yes.
Okay, which you've also noted here as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about the night, was this the first person that you did this to?
That I tried. Well, there were other people that had done it to who didn't die.
Prior to James?
Prior to James.
Okay, and are they documented on here?
He's the first one who died.
Right.
Back here?
But there's some other...
People who didn't die.
Right, so I can't read that first name.
Clotilde Adriana.
Okay, so that was, I mean, they're both September 2007, but that was before James?
Yeah.
Okay. So, was this your first attempt at overdosing these people on insulin?
Yes, Clotilde was.
Clotilde.
And I didn't really want her to die. I don't know, I was just angry and had this sense inside me that she might be a person that God wanted back with him.
Okay. And is that feeling you're referring to that you had in your stomach at times?
Yeah.
Okay, is that the point, and I hate to get off topic here, but the point where you had these feelings in your stomach and almost that laughter after it happened?
Yeah.
Is that the part that you didn't tell Dr. Khan?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that.
I told him about the laughter in my stomach, but not the feeling that this might be the person that God wants.
Okay.
Because I just sounded so stupid.
It's your feelings, right?
Mm-hmm. I honestly felt like God wanted to use me. And Dr. Khan kept asking me, do you think God chose me for a special purpose? I kept saying no, because that did not sound like a special purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just had a sense after my marriage broke up that God was going to use me for something. And then after a while I started to really wonder, after some of the murders, if it was God or if it was the devil fooling me.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you were doing the right thing for these people?
No. No. I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't what was right for them.
Okay. So James, then, it was in the evening that this one took place, right?
Yeah.
It says here at about 9:30.
Yeah.
Run me through
About
portion of things.
9:30, I gave him a dose of 50 milligrams of insulin. He's not diabetic. So I went into I used a borrowed insulin pen, borrowed insulin, and gave him an insulin shot. And at 3:30, the PSW, well, throughout the night he was yelling out, "I love you," and "I'm sorry," and not to me, but just you could hear him calling out in his room, and that's what he was calling out.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 3:30, the PSWs came to me and said that he was gone.
Okay.
So I did what we're supposed to do. I went and listened to his heart and chest, called the doctor, called the family because that's what they wanted. Family came in to sit with him for a while. Doctor came in and said that his cause of death was from an embolism due to his post-hip. He'd had hip surgery.
Okay.
Doctor ruled it embolism due to post-hip surgery.
Okay. All right. Who do you think he was talking to when he was yelling out, "I love you"?
I thought it might be his family.
Okay.
I really did. And when they came in and talked to me, they wanted to know if he'd said anything.
Right.
So I told them, and I was so ashamed.
Yeah.
So ashamed. Yeah.
When you were speaking with the family.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that the family that kind of commended you for the work that you had done? And
yes, and that I've been there for them, and yes.
How did that make you feel?
Awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
How did you deal with it?
I just went home, went to bed. You know, I felt awful. Maybe I fought with my girlfriend. Did some exercising, you know.
Yeah.
Played some games on the computer and just tried to forget about it.
Okay. Did you have a problem sleeping that night at all, or anything like that, or did you?
Well, I was working nights, so I was.
During the day then.
I would say I tossed and turned a bit. Yeah. Felt pretty bad. And I didn't want to see the family again. So I tried to make sure I wasn't working when they came to pick up his stuff, and I wasn't.
And what room, do you remember, like a room number, or just, like you
No,
said?
it was down the north wing.
The wing, yeah. Okay. Where did you get the insulin from for James, for Mr. Silcox? You said you had taken some insulin pens. Where did you get those?
The insulin was kept in a fridge in the medication room.
Okay.
We had 2 medication rooms. Insulin was kept in a fridge in the medication room, and extra pens were kept in the drawer. So you could just say somebody who had someone admitted and you needed a pen in a hurry. So you just put the insulin in the pen and put the needle on and dial up the dose and give it.
And how was that documented to know that, so that Crescent Care would know that you were taking that insulin?
They didn't keep track of insulin.
Okay. So it was just something that was available for the nurses' use when they knew that it was appropriate for the certain patients?
Yes. Now each patient has their own insulin.
Right.
And maybe somebody may have noticed that a lot of insulin was missing if a lot was used, but I was always careful to use different people.
Okay. Different people's insulin?
Insulin, yes.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Silcox, then, where did you inject the insulin into his body?
I'm not really sure. I'm going to say his arm or his torso.
And did he know what was going on at that point?
Not really.
Was he a verbal patient? Like, could he converse with you and communicate?
He didn't really converse. He did a lot of yelling out. I don't really remember him reacting when I gave it to him.
So, he didn't react?
I don't remember him reacting, no.
Okay. Would he maybe just think it's a regular portion of his day and
Probably.
receiving the medications that he so required?
Probably because he had dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you can remember about Mr. Silcox?
His wife and daughter loved him a lot.
Mm-hmm. And how does that make you feel?
Crappy.
Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, like I said, he could be a bit of a handful, but, you know, he ate and drank normally, he took his pills when you told him to, so nothing else I can really remember about him. But this is, 9 years ago, so.
It's a while ago.
Yeah.
How long after, when did you break up with your husband?
I broke up with him.
Was it August 2007?
Oh, no. I broke up with him in end of January, beginning of February 2007.
Okay, so it was quite some time till September until you actually...
Yeah.
All right, I guess.
By that time, I was in a new relationship with a woman.
Okay. Who was that?
Her name was Maureen.
Did you ever disclose to her what you were doing?
No, absolutely not.
So you just kind of went about your thing with Mr. Silcox?
Yeah.
Went home that day, did your kind of some exercising, computer games, went to sleep. Did you work again that next day?
I don't remember.
Don't remember. Do you remember who you would have been working with on that occasion?
No.
No?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You want to get up and stretch?
I just do a lot of fidgeting.
Okay, that's okay. Hey, you're not bothering me. I just want to make sure that you're comfortable.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
If I need something, I'll do it.
Okay. You betcha. Do you remember who your supervisor would have been at that point?
Well, that would be Helen Rombe.
That was the head nurse?
Yeah, she was always, like, whoever was on as the nurse was the charge nurse.
Okay.
So I was the charge nurse, and at night, so as the charge nurse from 3 to 11, I was in charge of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PSWs, and I was and then there was 2 other wings, and so at night, as the charge nurse, I was responsible to look after the RPN on the other side. I'd be a resource for her.
Okay.
There were 4 PSWs on that side and 4 PSWs on my side, so 9 people.
Okay.
And then Mrs. Conley, of course, she wasn't around with me.
Okay. She's rotated.
Yeah. So she's who we all answered to. She was, her and the executive director, Brenda, I don't remember her last name. I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna pass gas because of Julie.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. So, as far as Mr. Silcox goes then, besides what you were feeling in your stomach, and besides that you thought that this was a purpose that you were given on from your relationship forward after breaking up with your husband, right?
Yeah.
You indicated that he wasn't a very nice man.
No, he wasn't.
Is that a portion of what happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wonder if that's a portion of how I chose him. And afterwards I did feel a release and a relief. Like a relief of pressure.
Okay. Because throughout this document, and as we go through it, a lot of these people, you kind of describe them as not very nice people. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a tendency or a pattern that we see as far as, is that why you chose these people?
Yeah, it might be, but I also know I just felt like they were the ones.
Right.
I had a feeling inside that they were the ones.
Before you injected insulin into Mr. Silcox, was it a spur of the moment thing? Had you thought about it when you reported for duty at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
I started thinking about it about 6 at night, I think.
Okay. And do you remember who the pronouncing doctor would have been?
No.
Like, how did that process work?
That process, the way it worked was, person's found with no vital signs. Nurse goes in with the stethoscope, listens for 1 minute. If there's no heartbeat, no lung sounds, nurse goes and calls the doctor on call.
Okay.
There was also a sheet that we had to fill out if we thought it was a coroner's case. In this case, I don't believe we thought it was. And then family is called. And the doctor may wait to come in and pronounce in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Family can come in and visit the body at any time.
Okay.
So then the PSWs would get the body ready.
Okay. So prior to the doctor announcing in the morning, the family could come in and spend time?
Yeah, so the PSWs would just clean them up, put on, put in clean breeches and clean up the bed and stuff.
Right. So you said Mr. Silcox, you said we didn't think it was a coroner's case. Whose decision would have that been?
I guess I'm using the royal we.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So would that be just a decision that you were trusted to make?
No, there's a form on the computer, and you go down through it, and if you tick off anything that says yes, you notify the coroner.
Okay. All right. But you would have clicked off those boxes yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, knowing that you had done this to Mr. Silcox, did you feel that you wouldn't click yes so that attention wouldn't be drawn to you?
You know, I honestly can't remember if he was a clever case or not.
Okay.
He might have been.
Now, with insulin...
Even though I did this to these people, when I did their... But see, it's phrased as, does anyone have a reason to believe that this death was not natural?
Right.
So, yeah, I wouldn't click that one. If I had done the insulin. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. And I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just a question. Okay. Anything else you can think about from Mr. Silcox?
No.
Okay. Maurice. How did you pronounce Maurice's last name?
Granat.
Is it Granat? Okay. So tell me a little bit about Maurice. This says that this occurred in September or October of 2007. And this was at Crescent Care?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your interactions with Maurice.
He was another one who liked to grab breasts and asses.
Okay.
He was sometimes a patient of mine. See, at that time, I didn't have a set floor that I worked on. I worked on all the different floors as a nurse, kind of filling in.
Okay.
So, one afternoon I was working with him and he did grab me. And again, I got that feeling inside that this is his time to go. So I gave him an overdose of insulin after supper. And I believe he died the next day.
And what was your shift that? Do you remember what shift
you were
working at that
point?
point?
It was 3 to 11.
3 p.m.?
Yeah, to 11 p.m.
Till 11 p.m. So like
So
an
he
afternoon shift.
he died when I wasn't there.
Okay. And he was known for, it says here, grabbing the staff's breasts and asses.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember who you would have been working with at that point?
No.
Okay. Do you remember where Maurice was within Crescent Care?
Yeah, he was down in the north wing. I think he was in a double room on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember who his roommates would have been at all?
No, I don't. But I do remember that when he started going downhill after the insulin overdose, they moved him to the palliative care room right by the nurse's desk.
Okay. And at what point of the day do you think that you, sorry, I think you said this already, but just to confirm, what time of the day do you think it was when you had injected him with
When I injected him, it was afternoon. I think it was 4:30, 5:30.
Okay. All right. And what was his reaction to receiving the insulin?
Again, it was just kind of like, oh, okay. I said, the doctor wants you to have a vitamin shot. That's what I usually say.
And was he able to communicate? Was he verbal?
He was verbal.
Could converse?
Not totally, but he could say some things, yeah.
Okay. All right. And did he question his vitamin shot at all?
No.
And he passed away the next day?
Yeah.
Okay. So, being that you weren't there when he had passed away, you wouldn't have been the one checking the boxes.
That's right.
So, do you know, by chance, what nurse would have been responsible for Mr. Granat?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
Okay. Did you ever have any concerns that he didn't pass away while you were working and that, you know, suspicion may arise?
No, I didn't. Well, yes, I did a little bit. I always wondered if they'd find the site where I gave the shot and something, you know, there'd be an investigation. I always wondered that.
Right.
But other than that, no.
And even though it passed through your mind, did you just continued on about your duties?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember what part of the body he would have been injected in?
Maybe the leg. Because at that point he didn't have a lot of body fat, so.
Maurice didn't?
He didn't know. And when you get a subcutaneous injection, it goes in to the body fat, so.
Okay. And you documented that he was a cancer patient?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what type of cancer he had?
I think it was prostate.
Prostate?
Prostate, yes.
Okay. And what did the outcome hold for his future as far as the cancer in his body?
He was dying.
Was he? How old do you think Maurice was?
75, 76.
Alright. I'm sorry, he was in a double room?
Yeah, I believe it was a double sorry,
That's okay.
it's so far,
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a significant event in your life, but it's a long time ago.
yeah.
So I'm not concerned that you can't remember every question that I ask you. If you can do the best that you can, that's all I can ask for.
Okay.
Okay?